We've got 65 Dahlia tubers which I purchased in February. Well, they arrived in February, so I've stored them for 2 months, and today being the second week in April, we're going to get them started in pots, pending them being planted out last week in May or first week in June when the frosts are finished. So we're going to unpack these boxes, have a look at each of the tubers, inspect them, make sure that they're okay, get them ready for planting, and then the easy part, which is just put them in a pot, which I'll demonstrate today. This is where we store our dahlias. Make some use of the Amazon boxes. There's 20 in this box. Wood chippings, piece of paper, and close off the box. So there's some air. Perhaps better is, I think it's banana boxes where there's some aeration holes. But these do fine for the period we store them. That's got 10, this one's got 5 in it. This variety is Preference, which is a lovely pink, generous dahlia which produces flower after flower, not too big for bouquets, and one of our favourites. We store them in these wood shavings, which is what we use for the chickens. So these will get recycled back into the chicken pen. And the one thing I have noticed about this is they do tend to dry out. So a couple of times while I've been checking them in the last 2 months, I thought that they were probably too dry. So because I store them with newspaper over the top, what I've done is to spray the newspaper with water now and again to put some moisture back into the shavings, and that seems to have done the trick actually. The shavings, I can feel, have a little moisture in them now. So we'll get the tubers out and see what we've got. We'll have a look at those together in a minute. I'll just dig them all out. To be quite happy in here. They've lost some moisture since I put them in here, drying out just a little. Lay them on here because there's some more I think underneath. just check when I transfer the shavings out into a bag. I'll just check that we're not missed any there. Then we'll see what we've got. So we just pick one of these and have a look at the structure. Oops. This one. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and a bit, 4 tubers, and this part here is the mother tuber. That's the original plant. So that was planted the beginning of last year. This is the stalk. So the plant grew, flowered, produced food, which was then sent back down the stem and stored in these tubers, which are root tubers in the case of a dahlia. Bit of a misnomer. Tubers in strict parlance is part of a stem. A tuber is part of a stem. So, for instance, a potato is a true tuber because it's a stem. It's part of the structure of the plant, which is the stem, which is why potatoes go green when you leave them in the light, because they're stem, they produce chlorophyll. But dahlia tubers are parts of the root system, not stems, but we still call them, well, we call them root tubers to get around it. So tubers, mother tuber, original tuber, stem, and where the tubers meet the stem, there'll be areas where the shoots are going to appear. We call those eyes. Some of these tubers, they do get sort of scrappy. That area there, I'm pretty sure that area there is an eye. We'll go for something between 3 and 5 shoots when the plant is growing, and we'll reduce any more that come. We'll chop those off, because between 3 and 5 shoots is the best for production of flowers. So this area here is the area where the shoots will appear. We can't see actual eyes at the moment. Well, not eyes that have changed colour anyway. They often go red as they start to grow, and then as they grow further they put chlorophyll in, which is green. So we'll get on and put these in pots. I've got 3-litre pots here. You can use 3-litre or 2-litre. If they're small tubers, 2-litre is fine. They will grow in here for 8 weeks or so before we plant them out. So I'm not demonstrating how to use a pot to grow your dahlias in throughout the season. That would be a larger pot, because dahlias are quite hungry and you'd really need more soil to take it all the way through the season. But just to bring them on for 8 weeks, 3 litres is fine. 2 litres might be okay, and it's simply a matter of putting it in the soil. It doesn't have to be central, because we're going to transplant it out. Make sure that there's soil touching all parts of the tuber. Depth wise, the shoot here, which you can recognize in all of these, it's quite easy to recognize the stem part, should be just touching ground level. job done there. There's the stem. So these will be watered, which is part of the process of getting the tuber started. They'll be then stored somewhere. The warmer the storage area is, the quicker shoots will appear. There's no reason for us to have the speed here really, because there's plenty of time for the plant to grow. So we'll store them probably in the polytunnel and just let them get on with it. You do have to squeeze them in a bit sometimes. So try to make sure that there's soil touching all parts of the tuber so they can absorb water. Well, you don't want pockets of air anyway. The water will settle that soil down a bit. And then I'll just show you them being watered. I'll just show you how much water to put on these. Soil's already quite wet actually. So that will settle them in and will provide the moisture to get the tuber started. And I'll get on with the rest of these. So here are the preference dahlias that we planted up. There's 30 of these. That's that nicely in the polytunnel now. You'll notice I've got some bubble wrap over there which fills the gap in the polytunnel to stop the frost getting in, and also if it is going to be frosty then I'll pull that over. To protect these tubers.